Two of the biggest CPU manufacturers are Intel and AMD. Intel, being the largest manufacturer of processors, was founded in the late 60s and has since dominated the CPU market for a number of years until the rise of the AMD started to become its chief competitor. Some of the Intel processors are known as the 286,386,486 Celeron Pentium processors. AMD processor. Advanced Micro Devices, or AMD, is the second largest manufacturers of processors. And it was also founded in late 60s. But it didn't really compete with the Intel and the CPU market until the mid-1990s. Some of the AMD processors are known as the K5, K6, Athlon, Duron, Sempron processors. They are higher-end processors, include the Athlon 64 Opteron, Phenom. CPU. CPUs come in 32 or 64-bit versions. The difference between 32-bit and a 64-bit is the way it handles the memory. The bit size of the CPU refers to the memory it can address. A 32-bit CPU can reference 232 bytes of memory, which equals about 4 gigabytes. 32-bit 232 equals 4 gigabytes. However, a 64-bit CPU can reference 264 bytes of memory, which equals about 16 exabytes. 64-bit 264 equals 16 exabytes, which is 4 billion times more memory than a 32-bit. So that number is so huge, and it's virtually unlimited. Because we will never need to use that amount of memory. 32-bit versus 64-bit. In order for program or data to run, it needs to be loaded into RAM first. So the data is stored on the hard drive. So from the hard drive, it is loaded into RAM. And once it's loaded into RAM, the CPU now can access the data or run the program. Now on the 32-bit system, since the maximum amount of data it supports is 4 gigabytes, it may not be enough to hold all the data that the CPU needs to make the computer run as fast as possible. And when this happens, then some of the data has to be kept on the hard drive to compensate for the low memory. So instead of data going from the RAM to the CPU, it has to do extra work by going back to the slower hard drive. And when this happens, it slows down the computer. But in 64-bit system, it's able to store a lot more memory than 4 gigabytes. Which means that more data can be loaded into the faster RAM than on a slower hard drive. And because they can store more data on the faster RAM than on a slower hard drive, the computer can able to run a lot faster. So 64-bit system is faster than 32-bit system. Like and share if you understand CPU manufacturers. Subscribe to Smart Cherry for more knowledge.